Hey everyone, how's it going?
I'm alright, thank you.
Oops. In a previous video, I'd started to swap the tyres. About to stop in the end because I'd punctured the inner tube and I was trying to get it back on, so I'm waiting for that. But that's okay because it's not been running too great recently. I've replaced the carburetor. I've rebuilt the old carburetor a couple of times to no avail. It's always been running a bit rough, so that's now a new Honda carburetor. I don't know what it's from or what it's for. I've googled the part number, it doesn't seem to come up with anything, so I'm thinking it's something that Honda has designed for their old machines that they don't make anymore. I think they've brought out a new carburetor to suit everything that's around 50cc. So with that, it definitely runs a lot better, but I've still lost 10 miles an hour. It's still not running right. But what I have found is there is an oil leak somewhere around the bottom of the engine. Yeah, somewhere around this sort of region. So I'm thinking that a gasket has gone. So we're going to dive into that shortly. I've got a full gasket set ready to go. We're going to be using most of these here, not these are the oil pump. Yeah, we're going to start stripping it down and see if we can find anything obvious that might be going wrong with it. You may also notice that I'm using a different camera at the moment. That's because I broke my usual camera, so I'm now using my iPhone for the time being. So let's get stuck in. Right, to get to the top end, or to get the top end off, we have to remove the mudguard, the front mudguard, and also the exhaust as well. I have got the bike strapped down, it won't really go anywhere. Put that somewhere safe so I don't scratch it. I need some more tools. To remove the exhaust, I've got a couple of 10mm nuts down here. Holding it onto the exhaust port. I'll whip out that spark plug in a minute as well. See if that gives us any indication as to what's going on in there. There's an exhaust gasket in that set as well, so I'll replace that too while I'm in there. That's not a 10mm. We also have a 12mm bolt up here, bolting it to the frame, and there's another one. There's another bolt behind it. I think it's next to the carb if I remember right, just around here somewhere, but you have to get to it from the other side. Oops, let's bring you around there. I think it's a 10mm as well. There it is. Okay. There it is. Just undo that in there. Not quite sure where you're looking now, but bear with me. It's got a washer behind it. Let's try and get it off so I don't lose it. No, it'll come off in a minute. Right, bring it back round the other side. I should be able to just wobble this off. All being well. It's easier to get it off than it is to get it back on again. Last time it felt like the exhaust had changed shape. Just could not get it to line up for a good half an hour. If I remember right, I think I took one of the shock absorbers off last time. Let's try that. I think I just need the exhaust to come this way a bit more so I can get it off. Might not have to, but I'm sure it's going to make it a bit easier. The rear end is still held up by the shock absorber on the other side, so it's not going to go anywhere. I'll get that old gasket out of there later. And there's my washer I was trying to get off earlier. Just going to get another socket for the spark plug. I'll be back in a moment. What have we got? Well, it's very black around the head. See if you can see that. There we go. So it's black around the head, all sooty, and then below that, around the threads, it's all oily. So I think I'm going to see some oil in there. But the question is why? Up here, I can already see that this nut should be on that side. I don't know. Well, it's supposed to be there for a reason, so that may well be contributing to why it's leaking. But we'll start disassembling it and see where we're at. Let's move this exhaust out of the way so nothing falls on it. Straight away, that wasn't as tight as it should be. May well be part of the problem. It just not being tight enough. I'm waiting on a torque wrench to arrive from eBay because I don't have one yet. I'm hoping that should be here tomorrow. So this won't be completely finished until all four of these nuts are torqued up after this has been reassembled. But I do know that these have to be done up quite tight. Very tight, but I don't know exactly how tight. So I need a torque wrench. That's not a copper washer either, I don't think. This one is. And that was up there. I think it should be down there. Carb, that's got to come off as well. That's missing a washer. Got a bolt around the other side to do as well. I've just got this bolt here to undo. I'm going to bolt around the other side of this to undo so that this cap can come off. And then we can take the cam off. Of course, that's not going to come undone until we get that off. Back round the other side. some more tools. No, I'm wrong. It's just this one. Back round the other side, get the spanner. Off that goes. I can't remember what size they are. I've got 8, 9 and 10 here, so it's got to be one of those. Try a 9. Oh, it's a 9. Didn't look quite big enough to be a 10, but not small enough to be an 8. Will that help a bit? Shall I take that case off? Do I need to? I'll keep it in gear. That might help. No. Yep, bear with me. Yeah, this case has to come off as well. I'll just take off the gear lever. Strap the rest of this back down. There we go. So to hold the flywheel, I'll be able to get these bolts off. Nothing seems overly tight on here, on any of it. So I think that's already telling us what the problem is, that nothing's tight. I don't know whether I can lock tight all of these or not, I just don't know. Carve off. Give us a bit more room. Down there, out the way. I don't think there's anything else to take off. Just going to prise that off gently. It's been a while since I've done this. There's not anything else to undo, is there? I don't think so. That's all off. No, it should plop off. Would I'm going to get the mallet again. I don't want to wallop it because it's only cast. I'll just make double sure. I don't think anything else is holding it in. No, that should just come straight off. There we go. I felt that go. It feels like it's the gasket that's holding it all together. It's already trying to separate. It is the gasket that's holding it all on. Why is that in such bad shape already? Just need to be very careful so I don't scratch anything in there. Well, a lot of oil has got around that, and that could well be because those head bolts weren't tight enough. Yeah, I'll have to get a wire brush or a wire wheel on this, I think, and clean it up. Yeah, those gaskets are correct. Yeah. Okay, I'll get these cleaned up and I'll be back. I'm just going to scrape off these old gaskets. Don't need those. And clear up this piston as well. I bought these brushes today actually, and I think they'll come in very handy for when we do the piston. I'm just using a Stanley blade here. Being careful not to scratch the surface. And also trying not to cut yourself as well. You get the idea anyway. Yeah, I'll be back. Okay, the old gaskets have all been scraped off everywhere. I'm almost ready. This is almost ready to reassemble it. I just need to blow everything out. Well, just clean it off with some brake cleaner. I'd imagine that'd be the best thing. Judging from the gasket, it started to blow apart inside. I'm pretty comfortable in saying that because the head bolts weren't tight enough, it's just allowed oil to go everywhere. It's just basically allowed them to blow apart, and oil's gone everywhere. I reckon I can't see anything else untoward that would have caused an oil leak and made it run so poor. When I've put it back together, I'll check the valve clearances as well. Otherwise, I'll reassemble it as much as I can and wait a couple more days for my torque wrench to appear. And now we can reassemble. Yeah. Ooh. Right, so when putting the piston back in, it's got an arrow on the piston itself facing upwards, which obviously tells you that's the way the piston wants to be facing up. And now you can watch me struggle putting these clips back in. And watch me fire them across the room. I'm going to do this. Pliers, that's the best way to fire them across the room. The only downside to small engines is the fact that everything is far more fiddlier, but it's still fun. Nearly. Ooh, no. But people don't usually show you this bit because they don't want you to see them struggle. Yep, it's just going to take too much time you watching me doing this. we'll be back shortly. Last update of the night. I've done just about the worst thing you could have done, and that is drop one of the gudgeon pin clips into the engine. I've had a look around for it, I can't see it anywhere, so I'm going to have to go shopping for something bendy and magnetic to try and fish it out. I'll keep you updated on that, but yeah, I'm not ashamed of it, you know, that's how we learn. But it's definitely a valuable lesson for all of us, and don't do what I just did. So yeah, I'll be back soon and I'll keep you updated. Hello, it's a couple of days later. I have a couple of return inner tubes turned up, so that's good. I've got a spare just in case the other tube I replaced decides to go flat, but so far it's looking good. Also we have the torque wrench turned up as well. It's only a cheapy 20 quid eBay sort of jobby. I don't use it very often, I don't often have the need to, but you never know. But now I've got one, I can use it. So let's get set up and carry on. Just going to knit these nuts up lightly in a crisscross fashion with the spanner, just to make sure we get a even tightening strategy in place. I shall then torque them up to 9 foot-pounds of torque, which is about roughly 12 Newton meters. With my 10mm spanner. Let's see if I can show you this. It's not very easy to see on the camera, but it starts at 5 and ends somewhere at 25, and we want 12. Where are we at now? So we zeroed at 11. 0.4, 0.8, can you see that? Yeah. 9, 10, is that? Yeah, 9, 10, that's it. So I'm going to put it right on 12 just there. Tighten that bottom screw up so it's in place. I'm sure most of you used a torque wrench at some point. If not, I'll just give you an idea of what it sounds like when it does reach its torqued tightness. I'm still just nipping these up a bit loosely at the moment so we can... nope, it's going to stay in the way. That's getting tighter now, so that's good. Getting tighter still. So you just want to do them a bit at a time to make sure you're getting even coverage throughout. Just make sure those gaskets are seated correctly and evenly. Okay, and now we can tighten them up to the torqued specification. You should hear it click when it's there. Still not there. You can hear it getting tighter. Yeah, you hear that click there, so that's the torqued. That's telling you that it's torqued to exactly where you want it. But it won't go any further. There we go. Let's go around them again. Just once more. and then we know they're all torqued correctly. Now when this is heated up, when the engine is warmed up, once, maybe twice, after a little run, I'll go through all these again, just in case there has been a bit of a fluctuation in tightness. It might have loosened off a bit when it's warmed up, so we'll go through all those again shortly. But for now, that's good. I can start to get the rest of the parts back on, like the exhaust and the carburetor. Oh yeah, I better get the cam sprocket back on as well. I think we'll do that next. Now, when we get to putting this cam sprocket back on, I want to make sure it's in the correct position. So, on your flywheel, you've got two marks. You've got your firing mark, which is marked F, and the timing mark, which is marked T. So it's pretty obvious which is which. And on the sprocket itself, there's a little circular marking there. We want that to line up with this little notch. Can you see that? A little notch just inside here. So we want them all to line up together, and that way we will know that the engine is timed. And that's the engine that is timed, not the ignition. That's something entirely different. Let's see if we can do this first time. Probably can't, but we'll give it a go. I'm going to guess and say it's about there. I'm going to drop this chain again, you watch. There's our marking, there it is. Been a while since I've done this, so I can't remember the best way to do it, but looks like it's better if you put the sprocket in there first. That's better. And feed it in. Where are we at? So we're off by one tooth. So I want to take the sprocket anti-clockwise by one tooth. Come back off. That's it. That should be correct. And it's not. I've managed to put it in the wrong direction. Remember, this is not how to, I'm not a professional, this is just how I do it. Nope, I'm still off by a couple of teeth there. And now I'm off by a tooth in the opposite direction. think we're about there. So I can get those, I can get that bolted up. I've been watching Black Books on TV while I was having my tea, and now I've got that tune stuck in my head. It's really catchy. Cool. Hopefully that will all spin over. Yeah. Just make sure all my marks are still in the correct position. Oh, that's white, yeah. Oops. That actually looks like that's one tooth out, to be honest. Okay. Well, I'm going to go back and do it again. Back in a minute. Yeah, if this was easy, it would be boring, right? Well, I mean, life in general. If life was easy, it would be boring. So that looked correct for a second, but that was because I had the timing mark in the wrong place on the flywheel. That one's come up, tooth. Oop. Now I've lost it completely. Right, that's still on one tooth out. Now my timing is correct. Go ahead and stick this back on. It's Friday night, and I'm where I love to be. Carburetor next, I reckon. Whoop. All my oil fill's just pissed out everywhere. Whoops. been looking forward to this all week. See if it runs properly after all the time I've had it. It ran really well when I first had it, and slowly over time it's just been getting slower and slower. Time being the biggest problem to get it sorted. But I just feel now, after having messed with so many different engines, I'm far more educated than I used to be. Not perfect, you know, I still wouldn't want to do this as a job. There's not enough variety in it, in a way. But as a hobby, it's a good one, as far as hobbies go. Just want to keep crossing over with these two again, just to make sure I get a good tight air seal. Not too tight, because it's only going into a cast head. And then with throttle. I'll have to do some more homework on this carburettor to find out exactly what it was made for by Honda. Just interested to know. Fuel line back on. What else have we got to do? The exhaust. Just make sure they're still tight. Yep, that's fine. This case has to go back on as well. Let's do that while we're around here. Where's my screwdriver? Yep, case can go back on, as can the gear lever. Yeah, if you really want to draw attention when you're out on the road, this is what you buy. Everyone wants to come talk to you about it, and I mean everyone. I don't know if any of you have seen the old Honda adverts for, well, anything Honda. One of their catch lines was, "You meet the nicest people on a Honda." And it's true. Oh yeah, of course. You must take the bolt out of the gear shifter when taking it off and reinstalling it. Otherwise you won't get it on or off. Right, I think that's about this side completed. What do you think? Yeah. Right. Then on to the exhaust. I'm going to see if I can dig out that old gasket as well in there. Back in a moment. Let's just see how well you can see up there. Oh yeah, pretty good. There we go. So just inside here there is a gasket. Let's see if I can prise that out with you watching. I don't think I can. I might have to get a hammer in there as well. I'm only replacing it because I got a new one. Nope, I'm going to have to get my hammer and I'll have to watch it from the stand. Actually, I don't think there's one in here at all. I think that's the head. Yeah. That's definitely head in there. Well, I'm going to be putting this gasket in there. So now it can have one. After all this time. I don't know why it's not got one in there. Right. On with the exhaust. Make sure I get my bolts ready. My nuts rather. Yeah, this should be fun. I'm going to try and balance more than one thing on here at once. So, gasket goes in first. Up it goes. And get these collars on here as well. Ooh, I do like a challenge. I'm gonna drop that, you watch. There must be an easy way of doing this, but I don't know it, so I'm going to struggle. That's not going to fit in there with the gasket. The gasket's going to come out. That's why it's not got one. It don't fit. Ah. See, I told you I'd drop it. Maybe the gasket is for later models. So, I'll be back. I'm just going to test run this as well. You never know. Where's my spark plug at? Where did I put it? Won't go without the spark plug. Dunno, I've lost it. Found it. I just want to make sure it runs before I put the front wheel on, otherwise I'll have to take it off again. I should have routed that before I put the exhaust on, but there you go. I don't know where this one's supposed to go. This pipe, this wasn't there on my last exhaust, so I'll have to either make it shorter or find somewhere better to route it. Heads on, that's all done. Exhaust on, fuel. Right, turn fuel on. Just going to give that fuel a second to pump through. How many kicks do you reckon? I reckon with the choke on, knowing how this bike usually starts, I'm going to give it 3 kicks till it starts. It's neutral. Ignition on, fuel, choke. Don't think there's anything else. I can't see any parts that should be in there that aren't, so that's good. Let's give it a few kicks and see what happens. Oh, that's promising. Spluttered a bit because I turned the choke off too early, but that's brilliant. It's alive again. So now I've got the inner tube, I can finish off swapping the tyres. Yeah. Well, you've already seen me do the rear tyre, so I'll get the front tyre assembled, then pick this back up when I'm putting the wheel back on. I'll see you in a sec. I've just brought you back again because of what I said in a previous video about inner tubes being crap these days. This Michelin inner tube feels really good. And before I looked on the internet, I didn't realise that these Michelin tubes were available. So I was very glad to see those. I didn't want to say anything until I've physically seen it for myself. But so far, it looks and feels like a really good, strong inner tube. I certainly don't like the cheap Chinese variant. Just want to make sure I get this absolutely square this time and not trap the inner tube in the rim. Well, I do have 2 tubes now, just in case. I'm going to put a bit more air into this tube first before I assemble it, just to give it a bit more shape and just reduce the risk of catching it in the rim again. Yeah, wheels all nice and back together now. Nice brand shiny, brand spanking new Bridgestone tyre. Now I can put it back on again. I've still got that tune stuck in my head. I was going to hold off doing all this work until the winter, when there's very little left to do outside. But because it's not running very well at all, I'd still like to use it in the summer while I can. That's just prompted to get it done. It's not a huge job really. Weights back on the wheel. Weights back on the bike, sorry. See, I'll move you back a bit. There we go. So I'll move you to the side. Dust cap gone, brand new dust cap. There we go. just noticed something I've got slightly wrong. It appears as though this brake arrow, this arrow on the arm here, should be lining up with this arrow down here. I don't recall taking it off before. Why? What is that? Is it something to do with wear indication or something? I'll come back to that. Oh, I got to switch it off by mistake. I don't know what that's for, but I'll come back to that. Just got this mud guard left to put back on, and I think we're home and dry, he says. At least we know it runs anyway. I'll take this for a spin down the road in a minute. I would take you with me, but I don't have a GoPro or anything. I don't fancy holding a phone camera while riding this. Definitely a two-handed job. I'll stick this back on and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, it's all back together again. No parts left over. It's always a good sign. I'm going to get this off, tidy up, get the engine warmed up, then take it for a little ride. And after that I'll come back and report if there's any issues. Ignition on, get a bit of choke again, let it warm up properly. Oh, first time. That is a good sign. Okay, just been for a ride for a couple of minutes, and besides it now looking better because it's got new tyres on it, and hopefully we don't have an oil leak anymore. So far so good, I think. Yeah, looking nice and dry. But apart from that, it seems to be running even worse. Just a little bit slower, and it's developed a misfire at the top end. So that could be partly because well, that's not going to help. That's just pulled right off. I'm going to, well, having said that, I'd better give it another ride. Just as I went to put the HT lead cap back on, I can see there's some corrosion in this HT lead, and that is definitely going to be at least one cause for misfiring. So I'm going to chop the end off this and then thread it back on again, spin it back on and see what it looks like when I've taken a few millimeters off this. Yeah, that could be one of the causes why it's not been running as well. But if anything, at least we've got the oil leak fixed. That definitely wasn't going to help anything. I've sorted the HT lead out, shortened it. It was much cleaner when I cut it back a bit. Stuck it back on, took it for another ride. Still no change, unfortunately. So I think next time we're going to be looking at the points. This is an old 6-volt points system. Make sure that the gap is correct and that the points are clean. That could well contribute to poor performance and potentially misfiring as well. Otherwise, it could well be a case of tuning up that new carb as well. Yeah, but for now I'm going to wrap this up. It's been fun waiting for bits, fitting bits, and just seeing what it looks like when it's done. But yeah, I am pleased with these new tyres. They seem to have a lot more grip already, even though I've only just taken it a few miles, but noticeable difference. Yeah, well, thank you for watching and joining me and listening to me talk rubbish, and I'll see you again soon.